My name is Felix, and so we're exploring the global financial market. Like I said, I want to look at the market overview for the week, and of course, action to be taken. And so, working on an action, and then pushing on to the market, and then making the right decision. And that's the only thing we want to do. So, Bitcoin, you remember, all of us know that Bitcoin has been on the move down for last week, and it was not a surprise. And so we love it the way it happens. And now one of the things about Bitcoin now is that actually we have a lot of liquidation. I told us one of the video I make on the group that with $114,000 region, if you're unable to break that beautifully, then we're still going to return back to bottom again and all of that. Yeah, normally we're looking at 107 before and probably even 106 as the lowest that could happen. And so, and I still believe that the market still has a lot of things to do at that $106,000. Now, so one thing is this, no matter what you are doing, you need to have an idea of what you're looking for. So let's look at the market as it is. We've seen the market as it is, like a DXY. Let's look at DXY as it were. It has made conscious effort to break over, all right, all of its region, and then it has not succeeded doing that. And since it has not succeeded doing that, we're still having some kind of colophon and leveraging against its move and all of that. Now, so one thing you need to understand when it has to do with this market, global financial market, is to be leveraged on, all right? We leverage on the market and look at the move and you take advantage of the move, right? And I've told those of us who are trading financial market in terms of Forex trading, I've told you all you need to look at your trading, and especially if you're a beginner, don't go too much with too many currency pairs. You want to stay within at least major and not all the major even per se. Somebody want to take all the major. How long? How many will you cope with, for instance? Now, so look at most of the major here, for instance. You want to take the major Euro USD. So anything that has to do with USD and all of that, major and all of that. Now, how many currencies do you think you will cope with there? I see a lot of people trading anyway. That's a choice. AUD CAD, AUD CHF, AUD JPY, AUD SND, everything that has to do with AUD, all right, the trading. So most time, as a beginner, I will tell, okay, why don't you trade within the confine of Euro USD, all right, GBP USD, stuff like that, all right, USD JPY, all right. Yes, we know that GBP JPY can be very volatile, but these are at least, okay, maybe even AUD USD, something like that, okay? AUD USD, something like that, and all of that, so that you can work with one correlation, and of course, gold. Now, so this is it. So now what am I going to do when market opens? You see, the DXY, for the fact that it's here, it still have a long way to go to breakout. But sometimes a lot of people wait for the breakout and market is going. Remember that if it has to do with the forex market, it's about buying and selling. All right. But there are things too you learn, you take advantage of when you look at the long-term perspective of the market. So imagine for somebody who had been on buying euro, because that's what we do. Okay. When I do my analysis, right, when the market was flowing down, remember in January this year, was when I say, oh, wow, finally, the DXY is going to be rocking down. And that we had that here, start the breakout and retest over here, and then the journey continue. So imagine that's why we said financial markets, all the forex, crypto, synthetic, they are, investment vehicle. You just need to picture the larger perspective. You just need to see the broader perspective. So, but right now, you can see that it has flat out probably double bottom, forming a lot of double bottoms severally. So you can, of course, say that DXY is on its way up, right? But it's having some issues. Okay. So, but in whatever way, so what you want to have this week is that for the market, all right, for DSY, probably to retest up here and reject again, perhaps. But will it do that? You have to look at when the market opened before you arrive at that conclusion. But if the DXY is able to break out of this point, because I've always been telling us, then our next line of action is here. That means you'll be finding more selling opportunity in Euro USD, right? That means you'll be finding more selling opportunity in Euro USD, just like we've heard and the movement we have had on Euro USD, GBP USD. All right. So the beginning of the selling had been on. So let's say take it this way. Okay. So the beginning of the beginning had been on Euro USD because of USD DSY trying to take out himself over. So that means we should be seeing more selling pressure. All right, we should be seeing more selling pressure on Euro USD. So all you do is to look at, okay, DXY is dumping or pumping, and then we should be looking for a way of shorting. Now, one of the problem we have, trader always look at it that, okay, I'm a trader and all of that. If you don't have investor mindset, your trading will be struggle. It will be full of struggle because you always look at the shorter term perspective. And I've always said this with all sense of humor that, hey, if you think short term, you won't make long term profit or results. And eventually, even the short term may not favor you. But if you think long term, you will make long term result, and then short term result will become a byproduct. Trust me, that's how it is. So it doesn't matter what you are doing. That's why you see most strong traders will tell you that about long term perspective. There's some traders tell you what they don't come down to anything like 5 minutes, 15 minutes that is full of noise. You can't blame them. You can't blame them. So they go fully weekly and daily. The least they come down to is 4 hours. Yes, you heard me right. The least they come down to is 4. Once they look at the market on daily, and then they come down to they look at the market on weekly, then they come down to 4 hours. So for instance, now the week is beginning is very, very important for them. Where is the weekly stop or key level? Where did the market stop last week? Where is it beginning this week? So, and that's one of the things we talked about in bekenet software, where you see the weekly key level, the daily key level, and all of that. So, where is the market starting from? What's the market saying this week? And where is it going this week? Okay. So, like I've said, the DXY, of course, finding it way up, right? And then once able to break. But will I wait here? No, because you have been buying and selling. So imagine the kind of breakout from here, and then this is a breakout. This is a kind of double bottom, and then we move up, and there's a retest, and then this is another rejection. Perhaps we could have another retest. Now, the problem most of us have always been creating around our trading activities is the fact that we look at things in a shorter time frame and not being able to picture out the market. But I have always tell people that when it has to do with the financial market, right? Technical is the least you should think about. What do I mean? It's a constant, what do they call it in mathematics or something? They call something like variables or whatever. Now, this is a kind of constant, right? Once you get it, you get it. But the other thing that are very, very important is the fundamental. Now, the fundamental is that that's the volume, right? That's the specimen that come to fill all the laboratory tests you want to do. And so if you lack understanding or access to certain informations, when it has to do with fundamental, you will not actually maximize technical, all right? So for instance, what's happening, government policies, war and other things, and you want to have an idea, all right? And then once you have those ideas, you're able to feed in those stuff in the market, and then you leverage on it. So that's for I just have to summarize that DXY in correlation to other peers and all of that. Mr. Gold, I told us last week that gold is still bullish and you can rule it out and it's still going to go bullish. So we just need to break. Once we break and retest above this, my target on gold this season, if actually going to be just like what we've been doing. When I saw in 2023 when I was telling people, hey, buy gold even if it's 0.01 at at $1,800 region. It sounds impossible, right? And then we were talking about gold, how it was ranging, right? Over since April this year, and say once we break out, it didn't even retest. You can imagine what kind of wicked breakout of this? No retest at all. And now that's the dynamics because there are fundamental around it, and then we break out and just shoot up that way. We just have small pullback. That's all. No retest. Small pullback and over, and then we're over, and then we have a lot. I just imagine when gold is going to be crashing. And we're not done. And I told us that my target on gold is 4,500 or at least $4,380 at whatever. So you have to just adjust yourself into like buy, sell, and all of that. So for Bitcoin and crypto generally, I've told us that yes, we're getting some manipulation. So continue either you like it or not, it's going to continue like that. But if you look at it, and that's the dynamics about this market. All right. One of the dynamic things about this market is that we got this. I told us about this channel the other time that unless and if we're able to break out the recent high that gave to us, but we couldn't. And then instead we bashed down. And of course, the least I expect to bounce from was 106,000 region and all of that. Even bekenet software have to give us that. We bounce at 107. But can I tell you, when bekenet was telling us that we're going to crash, it was still here too. And that was just a very strong confirmation. And of course, that's why if you're listening to me, well, it can be marketing because of course everything that is good need to be marketed because people said good thing market itself or sell itself, but that's not true. If somebody didn't tell you or talk to you about something, you probably may not have an idea or an oversight because people hear what they want to hear and people do what they want to do and they see what they want to see. I don't see anyone being in our ecosystem. Either you are trading crypto, forex, synthetics, or you are just an investor in crypto, you need bekenet software, and I will justify. Let me use a practical example. All you need to do is simple. All you need to do is simple. Now, Bitcoin is bouncing back, right? And I said this bounce we need to cross 113, 114. Listen, if we do not cross 114, 113, 114, we will crash down again. All right. And even at that, you can see the channel again. That means we're looking at our 115,000. But we just need to cross this 114,000. And of course, maybe ranging from there again and then pull back to 113 then before we move up. And that's going to make sense. But without that, forget about it. That means if we stretch up and all of that, we still have a lot of problem over here. But look at it. Somebody is not going to say, okay, until let us clear this. From here to here was a big journey. It's a big plenty pips you will have collected from there, right? Now, for you, an investor in crypto, what do I do? Very simple. If bekenet software give you, just like this evening, somebody who have not been getting notification, after he was able to send his notification, I think from Tanzania, was telling me, hey, look at what bekenet told me. Now, this is some software that told you that we're looking at the market from onset, that the market, I'm sure at that time people will not believe. How can you see market is going to be bouncing from turning points at 107 while we're at 117, 116,000 and you're saying turning points at 107. Now, that's the difference between bekenet software, for instance, and all the algorithm that you program with or the algorithm you program with indicators and all of that. This AI that work with situational issues, even news, updates about things that changes, dynamic things, so stuff like that. So if bekenet software is telling me Bitcoin is going to be bouncing, now I don't need to buy Bitcoin. What do I do? That means the whole crypto too should be finding way up, right? So I just look for correlated, affordable cryptos. You know, if it's Solana, if it's Ethereum, and all of that, like, all right, then you can see other correlated tokens that you probably could now buy. And I've always been telling us, like I told us, like Solana, look at the channel on Solana right from the one when when I told us that Solana was going to be crashing down to $94. And now it's crashed down there. Some person may wait for it to break out of the channel, but we have an idea that it was going to be crashing down here, and we kept buying. And that's one of the things, those of you who are just an investor, I've been always saying this time without number, if you are just an investor, don't crowd your brain too much. All you need, there are fantastic investment we have on our ecosystem. Number one, you're buying of crypto and hold it to sell when it move up. So because this is another idea. Most time when people hear about crypto and investment and all of that, if you miss the cycle, you can't be a total holder. And I will explain that. Cycle will soon finish by next month and November, perhaps. If we extend to December, no problem. Now, so maybe if Bitcoin is unable to meet up with 176,000 or 152,000, then perhaps we could meet up to $136,000. Yeah, I had a lot of people talk about we're going to 300,000. Well, I may not be able to doubt that. Anything can happen. Bitcoin can use 2 weeks to get to 400,000. It's not, nothing is impossible. But let's say now, if you miss the cycle to have bought Bitcoin at 15,000, 17,000, 25,000, no problem. To have missed Ethereum or Solana to have bought it at $9, $3, $5, $15. I think the last I can remember was at $17.25. And I told everybody I was not going to be talking about it again. So that's a cycle. So for an investor of such, you can hold and hold and hold and just continue doing what you are doing. And that's the formula we have presented in Plan B. We said 3 segments of our activities. Number one, investing. Number two, full-time or part-time career trading, which is active work. Number three, affiliate partnership rebate system. Now, this is crypto. Now, the market was crashing, everybody was shouting. Now, as an investor, what you now be looking at, where will I buy from? Because ordinarily, Solana was supposed to get up to about $271, $265. Remember when I was telling us? But it pushed, and as Bitcoin was crashing, it couldn't meet up. No problem. And then it crashed, and we're expecting a bounce from here, but it leaped down. After leaping down, you are supposed to be asking yourself, okay, where am I going to get into Solana? So as long as Bitcoin now start taking, I said, well, I think I'm taking the move back. You should have an understanding that other cryptos too will be finding their way up, even if it's how many percent. Okay, so it's on that note you are working on, okay, maybe Solana, maybe Sui coin, and all of that, other crypto. So if I'm going to look at Sui, for instance, and look at Sui, say, okay, I should be buying Sui and look at to what extent. Let's say if I'm buying Sui from here, how many percent will I do? So let's say Sui, Bitcoin, if Bitcoin is truncated on the way, and then I do 7% on Sui, it all now depends on how much you invest in Sui. Okay. It all depends on how much you invest in Sui. If Bitcoin go more up, that means Sui can go to 14%. If Bitcoin go up as much as possible, that means Sui can go to 21%. If Bitcoin can make massive move and all of that, and October blow, because October is supposed to blow up as much as possible, that means you'll be looking at 30% of your Sui. Now, let's say it take the next 2, 3, 4 weeks or 1 month or 3 months or 2 months for you to do 30%, and you put $1,000. That's $300. That's how you will invest. And I've always said that if you miss a cycle, you should start from buying low and selling high. So when you push up to that extent and you do 20% or 10% or 7% or 5% or what about, and then we are now saying, oh, well, Bitcoin could not cross where we asked it to cross, it couldn't cross for that. Bitcoin is going to be crashing at this point. And there you are, you're already on how many percent? Okay, you're already on maybe 20% or 10%. You say, okay, let me sell. Or if you buy like 10, you say, let me sell the one I will take my profit and then still reserve some volumes and all of that. That's one of the lovely things about this space. Okay. But quite unfortunate, most time we think so. If you look at Bitcoin now, this signal was sent. Okay, this is not Solana. It's Solana on. It was Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin signal we entered. So imagine. So we entered Bitcoin since last week, if I'm not mistaken. Today's 28th. So that's about 2 days ago. Yesterday, Saturday, since on Friday. And since on Friday, it has been moving up, coming down, moving up. It's not our business, right? So whatever it's going to do, let it do, right? Over time now, by the time it break, so is it now when it breaks 113,000, 114,000, you want to look for a way to buy? That means you are buying in the halfway. We buy market when market is silent, when people are, afraid. That's why I say be greedy when others are scared or afraid, and be careful when others are greedy. So many people were looking, are you sure Bitcoin can bounce? Are you sure it's not going to crash more and all of that? So the worst that will happen is that you are bought and then look at it, say, okay, even if you are bought on spot or future, just about 2 point something percent, let's say 3%. So if you use 5x or 10x, so if you put $10, $100, sorry, if you put $100 or maybe on future, if you are trading future, maybe you put $100 or $200, and then you lose 30% of it, it's not a bad deal. You lose 20% of it, it's not a bad deal. Then at the end of the day, when market give you a better entry, and then you recover that and make more money, then you're good. But if the market must have traveled so much before you realize yourself, it's going to be a problem. And then you, okay, I need to take market now when you're supposed to be stacking some profit and then looking up and all of that. So I'm just balancing this. And I equally talk about stock. So I talked about stock the last week. I talked about stock every time. You should understand. There's a video I made. If you go to the YouTube, you see how to buy local and international stock, right? Neil had been one of my stock that I've been buying and selling all of the time. And I told us about how it crashes to about $3 eventually, and we bought more. And as at last week, it went up. You can see as massive as almost $8, going to $8. So if you buy the stock at about $3.5, and within from April, right, that from April or something, yeah, something like that. Okay, so even here, as at August was still about $4 or thereabout. But from April, I think that April, yeah, from April, okay, July, April, man, at July was $3.4. And you bought from July, August, September, 3 months, and you are doing 100% on stock. Come on now, this is big. Okay? Now, and this is another dimension to which when we're investing, even when we buy into stock, we know what to do. All right, like now, Sterling Bank in local stock, we're talking, or one other bank, either First Bank or which other bank, we're talking about declaring their profit and all of that. And even when, so there's a time that your dividend is matured. And now, even at that time, when dividend is mature, when they have already finished calculation, of course, this is another class entirely for those of us in capital market. And now, so once the dividend is calculated and all of that, I can sell down. So if I'm already on big profit, I did that to MTN sometime when they gave us twice a year of the dividend. So what did I do? Once I know that it's already calculated, and there was a new stock that was going to be taking a move, either it was Fidelity. And then I said, okay, at that point, even when the dividend have not been paid, it's already been calculated. Even if you buy the stock at that time, you are not going to be part of the people that will make dividend. So I sell part of it and move the money to Fidelity. So the Fidelity was going, right? After dividend and all of that, you should expect that's when most people probably will sell. Then it plumbed back. MTN plumbed back to less than $200 from when it went to $385 or naira, sorry. And then we're now buying back. This is an investment. You are diversifying. Like, lest I forget, in our system now, we said we have different investment. Number one, buy and hold, crypto, stock, and then take some of them. Number two, we have fantastic copy trading now on capitalxtend. All right. And that's, I've been telling everybody that I promise that I'm going to be taking very, very serious about it and all of that. So if you go and watch, you can fund your account on capitalxtend. You must not actively trade. And even our style of trading is not an active trading per se, because at that point, you're only following instruction. Look at bekenet software. Somebody, okay, buy Bitcoin at this. Is it so difficult? Then you just learn basic of want to understand refinement, and we do it together. And that's another advantage you have, right? And so now you fund your account, you follow a trade. But one thing I want, when it has to do with investment, there's a power of patience. But what fuel patience is knowledge. If you don't want to give yourself knowledge, you can't have patience. All right. Just like when talk about, a legend in the scripture who have patience and was not stagger. Why? Because the knowledge of the God he served, he knows He's God, and his God knows him. And so he's staggered now. It's because of level of knowledge, his awareness, how much he knows that particular God. And that's the same thing in the business. So most time people just get fidget unnecessarily and say, oh, the way the market is going, I'm on a drawdown, and all of that. I can tell you honestly speaking, if you don't want to see red, you can never see blue. It is more of red that give production of blue. And excess blue will produce red. Just understand that. People want to be in the market without seeing drawdown. Oh man, you will never go far. So you can see that it's still scriptural. Anyone who's afraid of losing his life will never have it. And that's the truth. Except the weight of corn fall into ground and die. So everything I do in the business is just scripture but we quote it, but we do not use it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not religious setting. It just to tell you where I draw virtues from, then I apply not storytelling, stuff like children told Bible story for children. No, so if that's the case, that means if it has to do with this business, you have to be ready to sneak out your neck. You have to be ready to lose. And that's the function of stop loss, for instance. I told us sometime in the office, and I was telling some people, I said, why do you set stop loss? Your stop loss is that you paid that stop loss should work. That's the whole essence of stop loss. All of us who are trading, as long as you are trading and you put stop loss, you are paid. You paid stop loss to work. But you have put stop loss. Yes, you are now roaming around the market. What is your problem? You have entered stop loss and then you are roaming around. Then you shouldn't have put stop loss then. You have gone to supermarket and you bought something and somebody say, I paid for you. You go and meet the attendant and say, can I still pay? Does it really make sense? So I won't pay with my money and pay with my emotion at the same time. That's the logic. Any market you enter and you put your stop loss, you have said, I remove my emotion and my money should be engaged. So you should be ready to either lose money. If I lose money, I should not lose myself. And I've always told us when it has to do with this business, you put money in the pocket and not in your heart. People will lose money and they will just come around and be killing themselves. Excuse me. Money is to the pocket and money is to be made. If I say you're fidgeting because you lose money, that means you lack skills. Skills is, oh my goodness. So this space, and if you are too crowded with noise and all of that, if you look at this market I set now, if you go on lower time frame, especially Bitcoin that we entered since last week, if you go on lower time frame, you will pity yourself. That's the truth. Let me go on 15 minutes. You are going to be confused. You see, you're going to be confused. Say, the market is coming down again. No, no, what's your business? But when you have a wider perspective, you're going to be happy. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you are following us, when you have a drawdown, it's one of it. And that's what we said. When you put stop loss, you are paid for it. So don't engage stop loss and engage your emotion again. Your psychology should be fine. Then when you stop loss, be okay, be normal, and you re-strategize. And that's one of the things I always tell people. Stop loss is you pay for your emotion not to be involved. So involving my money, I shouldn't involve my emotion. My heart should be guarded with all diligence. Because why? It's my heart that matters. It's the engine room. It's the main thing. Why do you allow money to puncture everything around it? I'm not saying when you lose money, you won't feel it. Yeah, but your flesh, your body will feel it. But if your heart begin to feel money you lose, I can tell you, you will not be able to grip up to make it. He said, why do you use today to start pondering of yesterday failure? Eventually, you fail for tomorrow. Because you have used the whole day to ponder about what you lose yesterday. Come on now. What I lose is my side mirror. What I want to make is my windscreen. So my full screen is my front. That means pressing for the higher calling, facing my front as much as possible, looking at what do I want to make? What did this market have for me? What happened last week? You made mistake. You made so much money last week. That has gone. Today, this week now is a fresh week. What is the market having for me? It's not what you have made last week. If you sit with what you make last week, you will lose what you're supposed to make this week. Last week, gone. Congratulations. You make so much millions of dollars. Congratulations. You lose so much money, billions of dollars. Congratulations. What is the next step? Where am I going next? But you put it in your heart, ladies and gentlemen, you won't go forward. That's the truth. I think it's the same thing when you hold people in your heart, you won't go forward. The same thing when you hold money to your heart, you won't go forward because you won't let it go. You won't let it work. You will frustrate the money. And that's how the trading is. And so when I talk about trading, it's generally investment perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have spent more than 3 minutes because right now we're going to be going into the bekenet software. The link, the what's it called? The link is already sent on our group, so you will click on it the moment we close this one and all of that. There were some coins I called last week. Even if they go down, I think you could revisit them to see if you can find opportunity of buying again, as it were, like Asta. Asta, I even traded Asta last week or this week, so okay. And then when it came down, and then he gave some money, maybe about 50 to 60%, and all of that. There is another token. Okay, maybe if I remember, I could send on the general on our Telegram group, the free, not necessarily the paid Telegram group, and all of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, so far, so we're looking at the market, of course, both the crypto, the forex, and all of that. We should be having some lift move up, all right, this week, and then. But remember what we said, if Bitcoin is unable to cross that 113, 114,000, then we will still climb down again. But before then, some people will have made a lot of money. If you have been in the market since that Friday with us, you will have known how much you have made by now, right? And that's what it is, okay? So here is where I said, if the market could not cross, then you see us returning back again. But let's see how things unfold. So please, everyone, pay attention on the group. Three segment of our activities. Number one, investing. You buy coin, you buy stock, hold, and all of that. And I see some stock now actually plumbing. Our Sterling Bank is selling and even doing some kind of announcement and all of that. And I think it's going to be worthwhile for people. I told us about First Holding. All right. The video I've done about how to buy stock, local and international stock. If you go and watch the video, it's going to help you where I segmented about how you should fragment your buying of stock. I think I talked about okay, I talked about sorry, the different sectors about how many sectors? 7 sectors from agriculture and all those things, banking, communication, and all of that. About 7 sectors, or there are about 5 or 7 sectors that you can fragment your buying of stock into, as it were. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. You go to our forum. We have a lot of information. Pay attention, read, study, get more updates, and so that you can maximize opportunity. Not when people are producing result or testimony, you're not asking questions. I know a lot of people will be talking about bekenet software. Okay, look at Avers now. Avers moved up very well last week, and now, so I think it's in a good buy zone. So imagine if Bitcoin is going to move up, instead of buying Bitcoin, you buy Avers, you buy Sui, you buy Solana. So if Avers is going to move up, you do 10 or 20%, that's good, right? Even on spot, right? If you do 10% on spot within 2-3 weeks or 1 week, it's a good one. You put in $100, you make $10. You put in $1,000, you make $100. It's more amazing and more, honorable than putting your money into different Ponzi scheme. All right. So thank you very much. So connect to bekenet software now. We're live, and to show you how bekenet software works and how to use it. Either you are trading forex, you are trading crypto. I've just given you an expo. If we give you signal on Bitcoin, now use Bitcoin to correlate with other coins that you can buy. Very simple. Very, very simple. Then the forex, the synthetic, we are killing it. Go and ask many people who are trading with us now. They will tell you, if anyone who have been committed to trading with us right now, he can tell you that why he's able to trade forex and trade synthetics, both on derive and well trade, is the fact that you have bekenet software. Look at the logic. The logic is simple. Fine, you do not need to be professional, but you can trade like a professional. Yes, you have chart and all of that. How many times am I going to stay on my chart on my laptop that I want to do analysis? I probably wouldn't have. I only just mark my chart and leave it. All right. And I always tell you guys, I said, if I'm going to trade, any instrument that does not give clear direction, it becomes chop. I just leave you. I don't have business. I have no much time to stay and be opening, put spectacle and trying to check it like a person. No, I don't do that. And so if you now have a software that's going to give you notification, go for this, fine. And that's why you see you set market on well trade, you even forget, you put your stop loss, put your take profit, you go to other one. Then later you just come back as a supervisory counselor. You just come and supervise. How you doing? Are you good? Are you good? Is it ready for harvest? Oh, hey, the harvest is ripe. So you just go, take your harvester, be collecting. That's how we're making money. And that's why we're encouraging everybody to take advantage of it. It's not like probably try want somebody's going to market you and all of that. No. Take advantage because that's what is on board, leveraging on AI and making money. So everyone, just link is on the group right now. Let's connect and go there to make use of bekenet software as much as possible. All right. So do have a nice time, everyone. Happy new week in the market. Okay. So we're ready coming into the new week in the market. Those of you already using the bekenet, check your app and see the notification it probably will have given to you. See you.
Thank you so much, boss. Please, boss.
Yes.
Sorry. This link, is it a new link for bekenet?
No. I think it should be old one. Oh, it's
It's
not.
not recording. No, I've been trying to reach him.
Oh.
Because it's not a paid this thing he's using, so he will not have recurring.
Ooh. Oh, but no, it should be personal. Wow. Let us.
Okay, but he can enter because I sent him a message for like over 30 minutes now.
Okay, I
It's
saw
yet to deliver.
he's typing on my DM now. Let me see.
Okay.
So that we will not miss two things. Make we for no loss. Are you on now? Let me just ask.
Okay.